I'm delighted to be here at the 44th Mill Valley Film Festival. It's lovely to be back, and thank you for having me and Rebecca Hall's film Passing.
Passing is based on Nella Larsen's novel, Passing, with the same name, that was published in 1929. It is part of Harlem Renaissance, it's part of Black culture, it's profound literature, and it took about 90-something years to have it made today. So I think that it's culturally significant. We have the beautiful Tessa Thompson and Ruth Negga starring in it. Rebecca Hall is the perfect director that adapted it and just brought everything that she loves and her own personal connection to it. So it's a wonderful film, not only about racial divide, but also color lines, gender, and overall what passing means. It can mean so many different things.
It focuses on the reunion of two African American women who used to be at high school together and bump into each other late in life during Jim Crow America, and one has crossed the color line and is living her life as a white woman, and the other is living as a black woman in Harlem.
And I play a character called Claire Kendry, who passes for white in the film. She bumps into an old friend, childhood friend of hers called Irene Redfield in a hotel, and it sets off a chain of events that lead to something I can't tell you about, so you'll have to go and see it. It deals with a subject that I don't think many people are familiar with. The story of passing is woven into the fabric of American history, and it's been going on for years and years and years, and I don't think people are aware of it. And I think it's a very important story to tell, and I'm very passionate about stories that are rarely told and have the opportunity to speak for people who have traditionally been, I suppose, quiet, and whose stories were thought unworthy of being told. I think this film is part of a canon that is redressing that balance, so I'm thrilled to be part of it.
I think the truth is whatever you bring to the movie will interact with the movie and will have a different experience. It's deliberately complicated and ambiguous, and it deals with identity as it pertains to any one of us, and the relationship between the kind of person that we think we ought to be or the kind of person that a society tells us we ought to be, and the one we want to be, and the gaps in between them.
Well, I feel blessed, and working with Rebecca, it was like she'd been directing all her life, and acting is a sort of prep for directing in many ways, but I think with her ability to story tell is super instinctual, and when that's married with her amazing intellect, something extraordinary happens, which is this film. So she understands the sometimes madness of acting and what it costs you, and the playfulness of it, and you can go to some strange places, and I love that, but it can cost quite a lot. And I felt incredibly supported. We all did by her. It's the gift of trust, which I keep saying, because it's true. It's lovely to be trusted, because you can feel you can soar, and everyone in this film, Tessa, Andre, Alex, felt Rebecca creates an atmosphere where you really want to do your best, and you're all striving for the same goal, and that's a lovely feeling. It's a lovely electricity on set when that happens, and that feeling is there.
I mean, I don't even know where to begin with that question, because before doing this movie, I wasn't a director, and then after it, I was. So I learned everything there is to learn about making a movie. And there was, of course, more things than I anticipated, and also less. I learned so much from being on film sets my whole life. But yeah, I think there's definitely a difference between before and after. I've been working in this industry for a long time now, actually. And for as long as I can remember, there have been discussions about inclusion and diversifying and trying to make open doors for more voices to be heard and more stories to be told. But the statistics have never quite matched up with the discussion. And I think for the first time, in certainly my experience, it feels like the statistics are starting to match up to the discussions and the hopes that we've all had for so many years.
I work in the BIPOC realm of filmmaking and producing, and every story that I've developed or taken on are deemed as challenging in the marketplace. And a lot of times it's just what's been inherently biased against. So when it comes to narratives of color, people think that it doesn't have a market or it doesn't travel overseas. So I'm constantly fighting against those biases. And fortunately, we've been very, very successful. My producing partner is Forrest Whitaker, and we've been in the Bay Area with 2 other very successful movies. One's Fruitvale Station by Ryan Coogler. Another one is Boots Riley's movie, Sorry to Bother You. So both movies were deemed as very, very challenging to make and maybe no marketplace. But look at where they are today and what those films have done when it comes to representation.
I see only women on the red carpet from the film. How does that feel? And what does that do for the industry?
Great. It feels quite normal for me because I've worked with a lot of women producers and a lot of women directors. I forget sometimes that we've still got an awful long way to go, but hopefully not noticing it will happen more and more. But yeah, forgot about that actually.
It's a real filmmakers festival. It loves film. It showcases talent from all over. It's a really wonderful festival, and it just feels full of film lovers and people who appreciate innovation and cinema.
Congratulations, you're being honored tonight for the Mind the Gap Award and the Independent Producer of the Year. How does that feel, and why is it good to be here at the Mill Valley Film Festival?
I was actually surprised that I was getting this award because so many of us who are producers, especially producers of color, we're in the trenches, making these movies, hoping to make a difference, hoping to shift the paradigm of filmmaking. And to be honored like this is, I just feel so blessed to be in this position because it means a lot for me for representation. I'm just so excited that we are here in Mill Valley Film Festival so we can show the Bay Area what this movie is about. I mean, Bay Area is really close to my heart. I am just feeling just like this excitement for audiences to see this movie in the theater, on the big screen, to catch every nuance of our performance and the music and the sound, but also experience it on a 4:3 ratio that Rebecca wanted to do. So it means everything for Mill Valley to have us and to be part of this Bay Area experience. It's everything.